Hey Ray, is now a good time to buy or should I keep renting? So I get this question a lot. Full disclosure, I'm a real estate lawyer. I've specialized in residential real estate transactions for the past 10 years. I've closed thousands of purchases and mortgage transactions. All of my clients are homeowners. So when markets are up, I'm busy, and when markets are down, I'm busy. People buy all the time. So when I'm asked, is now a good time to buy? I say as long as you can afford it, and meaning as long as you have a stable income and sufficient savings, go for it. It's very hard to time the market. Market downturns are very rare. In the worst case scenario, where you might have bought at the peak and the market goes down 20 to 30%, um, you can still continue to live in your house. You won't be really physically affected by the lower house prices. You may be psychologically affected, but not physically, financially affected immediately. At some point, however, you will need to renew or refinance your mortgage, and the interest rate at that time might be a lot higher, or the value of your home might be a lot lower. But these risks have already been managed by your bank. During the process of qualifying for a mortgage, the bank will do the math to ensure that if interest rates were to increase significantly, that you would be okay. More accurately, that the bank will be okay. It's not a coincidence that interest rates will be back down to normal levels by the time most ultra low interest rate mortgages are up for renewal in the next couple of years. But a market downturn is not actually the biggest risk you face as a homeowner. The biggest risk you face as a homeowner is losing your ability to make the monthly mortgage payments. If you lose your job or you lose your partner to death or separation, divorce, these kinds of unforeseen events can force you to sell in a down market. And that's why banks generally require you to have a 20% down payment as a buffer to ensure that if you are forced to sell, the bank will still get paid back. But selling your house is really the last resort. There are things you can do to bridge the financial gap temporarily while you regain your ability to continue paying your monthly mortgage payments. You can rent out part of your house, all of your house. You can borrow from a line of credit, from a private lender, from family. You can obviously dip into your retirement savings or savings. In many cases, your bank will even work with you to revise the monthly mortgage payment schedule over a short period of time. So there are risks to owning, but they are mostly manageable. But how does that compare to renting? Because house prices are so high now, I've noticed a lot of content lately about how renting might be the better option. There's a famous personal finance author named Ramit Sethi who is very successful, and yet he still rents in New York because apparently it just makes more financial sense for him and his family. Another person I've come across is Ben Felix, a Canadian investment manager who created a financial model using real Canadian data showing how renting uh, can lead to a higher net worth in the long run. And their basic argument is that owning a house costs a lot more than just your monthly mortgage payments and property taxes. There are significant costs to maintaining your home's value over such a long period of time. You basically have to replace the roof, the driveway, the bathroom, the kitchen. Basically, everything in your house needs to be replaced at some point. But more importantly, when you own your house, the majority of your net worth ends up being tied to the price of your house. This means that you end up being over concentrated in one asset class, and that asset has also historically underperformed most other asset classes like the US stock market. So, this potentially higher investment income is a significant opportunity lost that you might not realize because it's a non-cash expense, meaning it doesn't come out of your bank account each month. Every time the stock market outperforms your house, you don't see that reflected in your financial accounts immediately. So if you were renting instead of owning your own home, you would not incur these maintenance costs and opportunity costs, and you would have much more money theoretically to invest in a much more productive, higher performing asset. And doing so over the long term will leave you with a much higher net worth in the end. And this is true. Buying a house is basically an investment in real estate. And if your investment underperforms, you will be worse off. Obviously, this assumes that you are knowledgeable enough to be able to find and invest in better performing assets and disciplined enough to stick with your investment strategy over a very volatile 30 to 40 years. And that your rent is low enough to leave you with enough to save towards such a profitable investment strategy. But anecdotally, it appears that most people who are renting do so because they don't have the income and savings to be able to own their own home, let alone invest in an index fund. I suspect very few people are intentionally renting in order to optimize the return on their investments. And this really leads to the much more fundamental issue of deciding what is the best method to provide housing in a market where land is scarce. But I'll leave that to another day. So, Ray, is now a good time to buy, or should I keep renting? If you can afford to buy, meaning you have the required income and savings to do so, then buy. But if you have the required knowledge and ability to invest in a better performing asset than real estate, then rent. I'm Raymond Diep, and this was episode 1 of Deep Dive with Deep Law. Thanks for watching.